They call him the Big Dipper, Hall of Fame center. Wilt Chamberlain averaged 50, get it, 50 points a game in 1962. His latest book, A View from Above, tells about how he and the NBA have changed since then. Welcome to the broadcast. Good to have you.
My pleasure. Mine.
I remember as a young kid in North Carolina, 1957, it is the finals of then the NCAA did not quite have the excitement it has now, but it was the most incredible basketball. You, sophomore at the University of Kansas?
Sophomore, right. First year.
University of North Carolina. Three overtimes.
3 overtimes, yeah.
Joe Quigg, Pete Brennan, Tommy Kearns, Lenny Rosenbluth.
That's right.
One of the great college games.
I can tell who you were cheering for.
You bet. It was the happiest. I mean, I just loved that team.
And it was a nightmare for me.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, losing by one point. But the strange phenomenon about that is that, one of the guards, Kearns, is one of my dear friends.
And the funny thing is that they brought him out there to jump center with you. He's about, what, 5'6", 5'7"?
5 foot nothing is what he really was.
And there he saw you, and it was like this when they jumped center.
You're right.
Yeah. Let me talk about this book. The one thing I'm not going to talk about is 20,000 women. I mean, you have been asked about that.
Yeah, a number of times.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about basketball, which I'm...
Right.
You say that you are one of the most misunderstood celebrities. Really believe that?
Yeah, I do. When you're cast as a villain through most of your career as you're going through the arenas around the world, and you're imposing at 300 pounds and 7 foot and a man of color in America, it's hard to relate. It's hard for people to really kind of understand what you're really all about. And then there's that mystique about being that big and the sensitivity level and, just not having the same feeling that people have. It's all wrong.
Now, are you saying that inside of this enormous physical being that is Wilt Chamberlain and the athletic accomplishments that you had, there was also a sensitive soul that nobody understood?
Well, I've never seen, there's been a number of words written about Wilt Chamberlain.
Sensitive is not one of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, go ahead.
No, but power, strength, stamina, and all those kind of things. Arrogance,
ego.
Ego, absolutely.
And that's true.
Absolutely.
Do you still think you could do it? Someone said, I think he still thinks that he could play.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, up until about 1989, there were owners out there who thought I still could. I mean, not to demean the players of the day, I think that Wilt Chamberlain could probably go out and be a leading rebounder.
Rebounder.
Yeah, rebounder, right, which is a part of the game. You got to have the ball
right.
to win.
That's right. Yeah, but offensive was what your specialty was, not defense.
Well,
Bill Russell.
Yeah, Bill Russell was considered to be the much finer defensive player.
Well, was he?
I think that Bill Russell was considered to be the most fine.
And you think Wilt Chamberlain was every bit as good a defensive player as Bill Russell was? Could block as many shots?
Unfortunately, if they had kept block shots, I think you and I would both know the answer right now. Who was? Unfortunately, it didn't happen until after I left basketball. They kept block shots.
Now, here's what they would say, though. They'd say Rush was a team player.
That's right.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
He made the Celtics.
He made the Celtics
world champions.
And I do not disagree with that. He was the architect, really behind what they did, and they were the greatest basketball team for 11 years or whatever in the history of the game. And Russell was really the man behind it. You understand? But he had some company, Bob Cousy, Heinsohn, Sharman, Sam and Casey Jones, some guys who are now considered to be Hall of Famers.
Yeah. And so you're saying he had a better supporting cast than you did?
I think he probably did.
Yeah. You don't think much of Jabbar?
I think a great deal of his ability on the basketball court, the greatest offensive force I had ever seen. Unfortunately,
still is.
Well, that I've seen, but
not as much as Michael. Do you think?
Well, I think that maybe Michael is he's unbelievable. Michael's he's over here.
Yeah,
let's talk about
in a different zone.
Let's talk about Jabbar for a second, who I believe had one big problem, and I might have been his problem. I think he feels as though maybe I was the guy who's standing in the way of true immortality for him, because we were centers and somewhat rivals and maybe doing some of the same things. And so he spoke out against me in a few ways that I think were not too complimentary.
Yeah, and so that's what you resent.
Well, I mean, I resent that because I have a great deal of respect for him. I have criticized some style of his play, like a rebounding later on in his career, maybe not retiring, at a time when I thought he should have. But
suppose you'd had a sky hook.
Oh, boy. But I had a fadeaway jump shot. I had a fadeaway jump shot.
What about David Robinson? player of the 90s.
Yeah, well, I can tell
Well,
that
Michael,
but you are really a basketball fan here. You know, David Robinson is a great athlete. I think he's more athletic than he is a great basketball player. But embodied in that 7-foot body of his, he's able to do many, many things. But he is not a Michael Jordan, no.
No.
Michael Jordan is the player of the 90s.
He really is.
Sure enough.
What would you do differently?
First of all, I would remain an amateur a little longer because my true love was track and field. And I would have loved to have been decathlete in the Olympics.
Could you have been?
I think very, very much so. I think I was blessed with the kind of things like speed, strength, and stamina that you would need
what
to
would
be
you do the 100 in?
Ooh, maybe
under 10 seconds.
No, the 100-yard dash. I mean, maybe 9.96, 9.5 for the 100-yard dash. To 100 meters, which
I know.
maybe around 10.2 in that area. Yeah.
Have you been clocked at this, or are you just
I
dreaming?
No, I've been sort of clocked at this. It's not all just imagination.
Yes,
I mean,
right.
I'm full of a lot of things, but some things I have done.
And you wanted to? Who was it? You wanted to fight who?
I didn't really want to fight him, but I was asked to. I was asked by him, in fact. Maybe he could knock me out. But Muhammad Ali and I came very, very close to having one of those bouts.
Could you have stood up to him?
Well, Cus D'Amato, one of the great managers of all time for Tyson, was training me, and he thought that I could.
He really did.
He really thought that I had an advantage to it because he was going to teach me all the things about Muhammad. You understand? Yeah, right. And Muhammad would know nothing about me. Right. So that might have been an advantage.
Yeah, but didn't Ed Jones try to make it as a fighter for
a while?
Yeah,
there's a lot of guys who tried to make it as a fighter, But I don't really.
But they weren't after all.
I don't want to be compared with Ed Jones.
No, you shouldn't be.
Too tall was a great football player.
But not much of a boxer.
Yeah, well, it was apparent he wasn't much of a boxer.
Are you in any way, because of size, what part of the American dream haven't you had that you deserve because of your achievements, because of merit?
Well, I tell you what, to get every painter, especially if he's painted a Mona Lisa, would like to get credit for it. You understand? I would want credit for being able to be something other than 7 foot. And as I came along in sports, they treated me as a 7-footer and said most of my records and so forth were done because of size and not because of talent. So I want some credit in that area.
Yeah. You have any brothers and sisters?
6 sisters and 2 brothers.
And how tall are they?
The tallest brother was 6'5", and the sisters are all 5'8", 5'7", 5'6".
And how do they explain it?
Explain it well, genes. On my grandfather on my mother's side was about 6'8", so they say.
Yeah.
But who knows? He might have been 5'8".
Yeah. Now, do you have any children?
I'm a single man. I'm a single.
we don't talk about it.
No, I'm a single man. I'm not sure if I have some children.
But
I'm not
like to be
right now.
a father?
If I'm going to be a father, I believe in adoption. Right. And I'm saying that really seriously.
Are you thinking about it?
I'm thinking about it as soon as I can get my feet on the ground a little bit more level. Because
what does that mean, get your feet on the ground?
It means you need to be there. Any idiot can have a kid.
You're still sowing wild oats or something like that?
Well, I don't know how wild they are, but I'm not exactly ready to settle down yet.
You're not?
No. So, I feel strongly about that, and I believe in fidelity. So unless I'm really ready,
You believe in monogamy or just fidelity?
Well, I believe in monogamy when you have said that this is the time for you to
believe. Once you get married, that's it.
That's it.
And that's the reason you haven't got married, because you feel like you haven't been ready to make that commitment.
Yeah, and that is a commitment. I come from a family that my mother and father were for 50 years before my father died, and it was a great commitment. It was a great union.
Yeah, your parents got to see your greatness.
I'm fortunate before they died, they got the chance to see me do most things, and I'm very happy about that.
That's the most wonderful feeling.
Yeah,
to achieve and to be able to have your parents share the joy.
Yeah, my book is dedicated to them because they were really my greatest teachers.
Yeah. Your mother more influential than your father?
No, they were equally. My father was the strong, solid type who could do almost anything. Only a 6th grade education, but you would have thought he was a PhD in almost anything in the world. My mother, raised us all with a strong hand, and she was a very beautiful person.
I think of Kareem when I think of this question, because he once talked to me about this. As you know, he made a lot of money and lost a lot of money.
Yeah, I understand.
Did you keep most of yours? Have you been successful as an investor?
I was fortunate. I was fortunate to be allowed to associate with people who helped me very, very much, to help me to maintain and how to invest. And, we all need some help. We all need, also, I believe, is the choosing of friends and who you get involved with, which makes the big difference for everyone in life.
Did you want a Hollywood career?
No, not really, but I had a chance, to be in Hollywood and being a picture too. In fact, the guy Arnold, who's now making all that
right.
money, I had a chance to be a villain against.
You could have been Conan.
Yeah, I could have been him. I had a chance to kill him in the movie and knock him off, and maybe I would have been the Terminator.
Yeah. What would you like to do now? I mean, what's the passion and the obsession and the goal?
My obsession now is to give a little bit more of myself, or a lot more of myself, to situations that are needed, groups that could need exposure and need my help, whether it's the Special Olympics, Operation Smile, or Best Buddies. I need to just give a lot more, give something back.
Yeah. Magic wants to own a team. Do you want to own a team?
I tried to get to own a team about 5 or 6 years ago with Toronto when they had the expansion a few years ago. Those teams now are a little too expensive for me. Magic can afford one. I can't.
Yeah, he sure can. I mean, he's already owns one of these Coca-Cola dealerships or Pepsi dealerships.
Absolutely, absolutely.
He's gotten good advice. When you look at what these guys are making now, when you look at what Magic makes, and deservedly so, and when you look at what Michael makes, and deservedly so, does it make you envious, or do you say, wow, I wish I was 21 in 1990?
Yeah, I do wish I was 21. There's no doubt about that.
Because it'd be 20,000 more.
But well, you're right. But not envious. I think that those guys deserve what they're getting. Most of them do, for sure. Some of them are making 8, 9, 10 million, though. I don't know.
Yeah. If any doubt in your mind that if you were in your prime today, you would be the dominant player in the game?
No doubt in my mind. I think the game has evolved to more maybe of a showcase of athletes and the technical good playing of the game.
If you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will.
Yeah, right. I believe.
Do you write this book, or somebody write it for you?
I was fortunate enough to write it myself, and
Would you talk to a tape recorder?
It was I longhand.
Did you really?
I longhanded, and it took me about 13, 14 months, and it was very therapeutic. I want you to understand it. Everybody should write a book. How many have you written?
I haven't written a single one, and they've asked me to.
Get started, man. Get started, because I'll tell you, get a good look at yourself.
Do you really?
You really
It changed? Did you?
It helped me to change a lot. I mean, I was talking about a lot of things that, that I now take a really good look at from that book, and I'm doing something about it.
Good for you. Nice to meet you.
My pleasure. Mine, sincerely.
Wilt Chamberlain, A View from Above. Take a look at this interesting picture on the cover. We'll be right back, and we'll talk about the Middle East crisis taking place in Madrid and what it might mean for the future in that troubled region. Stay with us.